This is Jennifer Hale, and you're listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. And, I should go.
The tangents this week continue all the way to episode 192 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. Unlike John Hammond, we have not spared no expense. But I'm pretty sure there'll be ice cream. Hopefully. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week on the virtual table and see who joined us this week.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hi, Holly.
Hey, Rachel.
This is Chauncey friend from Indianapolis, Indiana.
We were going to get to you.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Quit interrupting.
And Rachel, I blew the toss up. I could have said, hi, Rachel.
Yeah.
or like the Hammond bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So, both Brittany and Chrissy are on vacation because it's a holiday tomorrow. So, unlike Holly and I, who still work, except for tomorrow. So.
Yeah.
But we will soldier on, and we are not alone. It's not just the two of us, as you heard briefly there for a second, because he piped in. Chauncey has joined us. It's been a while since you've been on.
It has. I'm back.
It's been quite a while. When was the last time you were on?
Probably talk about...
Was
you invited me for Last Jedi, but I was not going to come on because I don't want to... I want to make sure I maintain a family-friendly attitude.
Yeah, we don't want to have that explicit rating on our podcast. We're not that kind of show.
Anyway.
I think maybe our Back to the Future?
Yes.
That's what I wanted, yeah.
It's been a while
That's a long
since
time.
you've been on, so...
Mm-hmm.
We've had other people on, but
Yep.
you're one of our first guests. So.
The Fiveish Fangirls have been just barreling away with podcasts, and I'm very impressed.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Well, Chauncey is here for a good reason. Well, we will get to that. First, we need to do just a little bit of news.
Yes.
So, first up, some convention announcements. So, Salt Lake Fan X is still plugging away at the guest announcements, which, considering their convention is in slightly over 2 months, fair enough. So, they recently announced, I'm going to butcher his last name. I have no idea how to pronounce that.
McDermott?
Ian McDermott. It's Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah. I was about to say, I'm sensing a disturbance in the Force.
Yes. So Emperor Palpatine is coming to Salt Lake Fan X. So get your black robes ready, I guess.
Candy prune makeup.
Yes. We recommend doing, theater type makeup, prosthetics. Don't actually electrocute yourself to get all the wrinkles.
Yeah.
Bad idea. And then Dragon Con, because we actually mentioned this last couple weeks, at some point. The Dragon Con Dragon Awards, the nominations are now open for that, and anybody can nominate for those. You don't have to be attending Dragon Con. You just have to make sure to follow the rules on the website. So there is that. And the nominations are open until July 20th. So and then excuse me, closer to home and schedule wise, this coming weekend is In Conjunction, and I will be there all weekend. Where exactly, I don't know yet. I have not gotten any sort of information about that. I may not until I get there, kind of like last year. I did not know exactly where I was going to be, so I will post something on social media once I know.
Stack up on the tea and throat lozenges.
Yes. But that being said, I'm doing 3 panels In Conjunction. And technically all three of them are on Saturday. Although if you go to the website and look at the schedule, my first one's actually listed on Friday because the con is almost 24 hours. Like, they stop for like a 4 or 5 hour break in the middle of the night for people to sleep, I guess. And then they start up again. So my first panel is... On the schedule it says Friday, but technically it's Saturday morning at 1 a.m. is the 90s for all that panel. So we're going to be talking 90s Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network TV shows,
Nice.
which will be quite fun. So
That's at 1 a.m.?
it's at 1 a.m. I don't know how many people are going to show up.
Yeah.
Maybe if nobody shows up, I get to come home sooner. I don't know. Maybe we'll just spend the entire hour, just the three of us on the panel, talking about Double Dare. I don't know.
There you go.
We'll see. So, if anyone's still up and coming to in conjunction, still up at 1 a.m., please come to my panels so that we don't feel ridiculous having a panel at 1 a.m. And then thankfully my next panel is not until 3 in the afternoon, so I will have time to come home and sleep and then go back to the convention. So the next panel is at 3 o'clock, and that is the superhero universe, which is based on the description. I guess we're just kind of gonna do a catch up with everybody's favorite superheroes and see how they're faring. And I'm guessing if any of your heroes are like mine and part of the MCU, not too good.
A little dusty.
Yes, just a little. Like, let's see, how are my heroes doing? Dust, trapped on a planet light years away from home, and dust, and bad.
Yeah. Or hopefully in a pocket universe somewhere.
Yes. Recently regenerated. There you go. And then my last panel is Saturday evening at 8:30. And that is Geek Girls Unite Beyond Wonder Woman. So we're going to be talking about all of our favorite superheroes who are not Wonder Woman, but are not straight white men. So superheroes of color, other superheroes that are women, alien superheroes, that sort of thing. So, and we've got an hour and a half for that panel, and we're going to need it because we've been working on the PowerPoint, just sending it back to each other, and we got a lot of slides in this PowerPoint. So hopefully we can get to everybody in the PowerPoint. So there is that. So I'm going to be very tired. Thankfully,
Well, it's a good thing to have a lot of superheroes and not enough to cover.
that is true. That is
Cover
true.
the time allotted.
That is very true. So thankfully, in conjunction, it's a very chill, smaller con. So other than just the 3 panels in one day kind of thing, thankfully they're spread out enough that it should be a good time. I hope. Should be. So always, of course, schedules can change, so keep up on the In Conjunction website for schedule changes. So because I don't have any control over that. If they decide to move something, even if it's just a room change, I have no control over that. So even I'm going to have to keep up on the website to make sure something doesn't change. So.
You go where they tell you to go.
Yes, exactly. Go where I'm told to go. Do what I know. Sticking with Indianapolis stuffs, the Indianapolis Star, which is our local newspaper, has decided that they want to do kind of I don't want to say competition, but it's kind of a competition, nomination award thing for the best things in Indianapolis. And obviously your stereotypical things are covered, but favorite restaurants, local attractions like the zoo and sports teams and that sort of thing are all included. Favorite bar, favorite donut place, all that fun stuff. But they are also including things like favorite geeky place to shop and favorite podcast and favorite convention. So even if you're not from Indianapolis, anybody can nominate. And I think nominations are only up until like the 10th or 11th, so you don't have a lot of time.
And I've got a few ideas for the geeky places to shop.
Yes. You should have one idea for geeky place to shop.
Yes.
So, and unfortunately, I think you can only nominate once in each category, which is why when I shared it on our Facebook page, I didn't mention any podcasts, just because even if we eliminated ourselves, we have so many friends and acquaintances that are local to Indianapolis have podcasts that I was afraid I'd forget somebody if I started spitting them out.
Right.
So I figured
you don't want to snub.
Exactly. So I figured I wouldn't say anything, and if they felt like they wanted to promote themselves, they could. And I know Cult Cinema Cavalcade, they're pushing for people to nominate them. I haven't seen anybody else push. But, if you listen to us, you know who some of our friends are, folks that we've had on the podcast or we've talked about that are local to Indianapolis. So if you feel like Cult Cinema Cavalcade or someone else, please nominate them. Obviously, for Geeky Place to Shop, Who North America, that would be an amazing thing for them to get that kind of recognition. And then convention, obviously, PopCon. I'm going to be a little biased. Obviously, there's Gen Con. They're not local, technically. They didn't start local.
Right.
And honestly, I don't think their base of operations is in Indianapolis, even though the convention is. I think they're still in Colorado. I think they're based. I'm not entirely sure. And definitely do not nominate that other convention. They are owned by a company in Florida. I don't care if Indiana is in the name. Do not nominate them. They do not count. So, and of course, there's also like Starbase Indy, In Conjunction. Right. There's others, but I'm slightly biased to PopCon. So
you're not talking about Gen Con, right?
No, I'm talking about that other convention that I only go to because I'm helping out friends.
The convention that shall not be named.
Yes, that convention that shall not be named.
Voldemort Con.
Yeah, Voldemort Con. Well, they did have a lot of Harry Potter guests this year, so it does kind of count. So anyway, but yeah, get on that. It's really easy to do. To nominate, you just kind of type it in. You have to give them your name and email address, but you won't get spammed or anything. I haven't gotten anything from the Star. But at least Who North America, definitely for Geeky Place to Shop. So, and then the poll for the book club is up.
Yes, and the book that we're reading for the month of July is The Day of the Doctor. Then your book choices for August are Twice Upon a Christmas, Twice Upon a Time, The Christmas Invasion, Heroes and Monsters, and then A Very Private Haunting from the Lethbridge Store. Which
the Heroes and Monsters I actually read. I have it, and I've read it recently, so.
Yay! Now, I know the Vortex Boys had mentioned, and one of them accidentally voted when they brought up the poll. You can change your vote. You have plenty of time. It's just I try to make a habit when I switch the book for the new month that I put the poll for the next month up, so I don't forget.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, because I've had a couple of oopsies. It's like, oh dear.
Yeah.
It's the end of the month. There's 3 days left. And the poll's not up.
Yeah. I definitely need to join in on this month's book, though. I need to go get the Target novelizations over at Who North America, so.
Oh, I'm reading it, and it is good.
I love Day of the Doctor. It's my favorite. So, Like, if I'm going to start with any target novelization, it might as well be my absolute favorite Doctor Who episode ever. So, awesome.
And Moffat's writing style shows through in this one, too. In a good way.
Yes. So. Alrighty. Well, with that, let's get on to this week's topic, which is dinosaurs, and not on a spaceship.
I was just about to say that.
Although if they keep it up, the way they're going with the franchise, they might reach that point eventually.
If we get a surprise Tracy, that would be nice.
I will bet that they'll go the Dino Riders route earlier than they'll go to the dinos in space.
Yeah, probably. So, but as we mentioned at the end of last week's show, this week we're talking the Jurassic Park / World franchise. Warning,
there will be spoilers.
Yes, there will be spoilers for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. But one, because we just had a new entry into the franchise, and two, just last month was the 25th anniversary of the very first movie being released in theaters. So, kind of appropriate, if you ask me. So, and Chauncey is here because, along with Star Wars and the X-Men, this is one of his favorite franchises.
Yep, I love the idea of Jurassic Park. And I love the first movie.
Yes.
Yep.
The second and third one are...
I'm not a hater, though.
Something.
I like pretty much all of them.
Yeah. I mean, they're not...
They all have their good parts.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Usually when the bad guy gets eaten by a dinosaur.
Yes. The first time you ever root for the bad dinosaurs.
Yeah. Like Jimmy Buffett.
Bad guys.
So, yeah, I mean, these movies, obviously the first one was groundbreaking because of the technology behind it.
Yes.
Especially considering a lot of it was practical effects. I mean, so some of the dinos are CGI, but some of them are giant puppets.
And it still holds up to today. You know, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, there's shots that I look at from the first one, I'm like, and they say, that's computer graphics. And I say, no, that can't be. And it is.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely holds up after 25 years. So, the second and third one, not so much. There's definitely some spots where you're like, yeah, that CGI is not nearly as good.
I want to know, like, some sort of, like, number from, like, the range of, like, 1994 through 96. Like, how many home theater systems were installed because of Jurassic Park?
Yeah, really.
Oh, probably quite a few.
How many big screens with surround sound?
Yeah.
Did people have installed in their homes in the mid-90s?
Yeah, because I can remember when my dad updated our stereo system. That was right around the time Jurassic Park came out on the DVD or VHS, and then for Christmas I got the Jurassic Park Super Nintendo game. Yeah, made the bad move of having the stereo on when playing that and having the raptor come up and go,
Real high-pitched squeal.
Yeah. I was sitting on the floor. I probably jumped about 3 feet in the air and, like, thank heavens the controller was still in my hands and didn't go flying and break something.
I'm surprised no one's tried to actually 3D print a raptor, what is that, like a voice box from episode... Or the
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they 3D printed it into that movie, and 3D printing wasn't even a thing yet. It was called rapid prototyping at that time.
Yeah.
And that's actually what they refer to it. It's like, I want to know if I can go on Thingiverse right now and print out a raptor voice box and, like, talk to raptors out, so I don't get eaten.
Well, you might need it to not get eaten, because there's some dinos on the... if you go out to Northern California, there's some dinos on the loose.
And you might want to be careful of Vegas, too.
Yes, and Las Vegas. Oh, my.
I do want to say something about spoilers. Like, I have not seen Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, right? and I've seen all of the others, and I just like basically got to the point where I just don't
ran out of time.
I literally don't have an hour and a half to spare to go see this movie. And Rachel is talking to me about it last night. She's like, "Do you just want me to tell you the story?" And I'm like,
I gave him the Cliff's Notes.
And like, I wasn't disappointed. I was like, "Oh, all right."
Yeah.
My imagination filled in the gaps, and Rachel told me the actual mechanics, and I'm good to go.
Yeah. I mean, you'll watch it eventually, because it's like the thing with these movies. Up until this one, the plot was never really the thing. You don't go to these movies for the plot. You go for the big old dinosaurs running around eating people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole, like, if a person's in a puzzle, like, how are you going to get out of the puzzle? You know, that's what's interesting about Jurassic Park, is these, like, drawn out decision-making, life-threatening situations that are interesting. And it's almost like Die Hard with dinosaurs. In some cases.
A little bit. Die Hard with dinosaurs. Well, what's funny is, before Fallen Kingdom came out, I'd seen the first Jurassic Park at some point. We finally sat down and maybe watch it from beginning to end, because that was one of those movies that I'd seen it in bits and pieces, but not in order. So I knew the plot and I knew all the highlights, but had not seen it in one sitting from beginning to end. So we finally did that at some point recently, like in the last couple of years, I think. And then we just never got around to watching 2 and 3 until like the last month, 6 weeks, something like that. Where I was like, I need to watch these so I can say I've seen all of them, and that it also factored into my MCU alumni watch-a-thon too, because Jeff Goldblum and Sam Neill, kind of.
Let me tell you, there is an addicting series of related videos on YouTube of Jeff Goldblum on late night television. Like, just start with like a Conan Jeff Goldblum episode, and then watch for like suggested videos. Jeff Goldblum on David Letterman. Jeff Goldblum on.
Jeff Goldblum is not
with
human.
Jimmy Fallon.
He's not of this planet. I've already decided.
The Jeff Goldblum for GQ with GQ England, like the English version of GQ. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. They just let him go.
Oh yeah.
There's no one interviewing him. They're just filming him and letting him go. It's hilarious.
He's something else. So, well, even that video I shared with you, dude, the grand opening of the Jurassic Park ride at Universal in Hollywood, and Steven Spielberg and Jeff Goldblum were there, and a whole bunch of other celebrities from the mid-90s. I have no idea who these people are, other than David Hasselhoff. Jeff Goldblum and David Hasselhoff. They were the only people I recognized. The rest of them, I had no idea who these people were. The few minutes that they got to talk Jeff Goldblum, and he's talking about the ride, and I was like, "You're just Jeff Goldblum."
I really wonder what he was like when he was like a teenager in high school or something.
Yeah.
Or like in middle school at recess, and just sit and stare and listen to this kid talk. It's like, what in the world?
He's not human.
Well, it's interesting is because his character outside of Jurassic Park and any of his other appearances in the Jurassic Park world movies, I would say his character's toned down for Ian Malcolm. His character as a real person is much different, and it's not just different; it's also like more colorful. It's a weird inversion of that, sort of thing you would expect in a character or in a person, I guess.
Yeah.
Because Ian Malcolm.
To see in the movie too as the dad, it was just like, whoa, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You watch the second movie, and I'm like, wait, when did Ian have a kid?
Exactly.
That's not how this is supposed to work. But apparently so.
But then again, this is Ian Malcolm, rock star, mathematician.
Yeah.
Or chaotician, as he puts it.
Yeah. Well, it was after we watched the second and third movies, and I think I turned to Chauncey and I said, you know what all these movies have in common? And it still even fits with the two Jurassic World movies? Bad parenting. Greed and bad parenting. Just happens to be dinosaurs along with it. Which is a sign of the times or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
greed and bad parenting.
Jurassic World Park movies are they're like a mashup, right? It's a monster movie, thriller, but it's action as well, so it's action monster thriller movie. And that unfortunately works every time, but also it constrains the script every time. And as Rachel was telling me about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I was like, they're obviously trying to just break out of this and like try to say, hey, let's be an original, screenplay for this whole thing, and maybe we can, start a new vein of how this is done. And after watching a few reviews on YouTube and of people I like that review movies, I'm thinking that it was not successful. What would you say?
I'm reserving judgment until movie 3 comes out for the payoff.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a cliffhanger.
Because it kind of feels like it's, kind of middle.
It's not necessarily a cliffhanger. It's
No.
just they've left these threads dangling, and it's like, okay, well, you in theory you're not going to put forth a plot device such as this without doing something with it down the line. So what are you gonna do? Because you're right, you're absolutely right. They did attempt to break the cycle of, oh my goodness, people on an island off the coast of Costa Rica. Was it 102 miles off the coast of Costa Rica? 122
Something like
miles
that.
off the coast of Costa Rica. They tell us pretty much every time. Dinosaurs running loose, killing people. They've done that for 4 movies. And it's like, you can only beat that dead brontosaurus so many times.
Costa Rica's kind of running out of mileage for how far away you can go before you get somewhere else.
Eventually, they're just going to close off the waterways and be like, no, you can't come through here. Please go away.
I mean, regionally, as far as like where films are supposed to take place, it is. I thought about that. It's like one of the only movies that actually I watch that like reoccurringly takes place in South America. It's kind of cool.
But filmed in Hawaii.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Not always, though, right? I don't know where this one was filmed, but...
Well, some of it was probably still Hawaii.
Right.
So... Because that's kind of a... You can go visit that ranch. It's a big old ranch in Hawaii that they use for filming all sorts of things, like Lost and Jurassic Park and stuff. So it's just kind of a set, but it's a natural set for stuff like that. So... But, yeah, I mean... They could have just gone with the island has now been destroyed because of this volcano, and most of the dinosaurs died in the destruction, but we saved some of them and sold some of them off, and now they're in the hands of some not nice people, which is exactly what happened.
And a couple of them have broken loose.
and some of them are broken loose at the end. There's Blue is running around in the mountains.
I haven't seen it. Is Blue a genetic hybrid, or is Blue just a regular raptor?
No, she's just a regular raptor. She was just trained.
Oh, she's just very trained.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she kind of imprinted on Owen.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, we see some of Owen's like archival footage from when he first started the raptor training program.
Okay.
And some of them are kind of derpy and just don't quite get it, but then Blue is like the star pupil.
Gotcha. Okay. And they just became friends.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially. But then to throw in this whole subplot.
Chris Pratt and his danger lizard.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But then to throw in this subplot with, oh, by the way, John Hammond had a partner that we've never heard of before in 25 years. In the books or in the movies, never.
It's almost like a character MacGuffin.
It is. It kind of is.
Because I went with my parents, my dad leaned over and was like, "Have you heard of this guy before? Is he in any of the books?" I'm like,
Nope.
Nope.
And he has the same cane, right? I heard that.
Yeah, he's got a cane with
They basically just tried to like uniquely puzzle piece him in, and because they couldn't get the same actor that played John Hammond. Is he dead?
Yeah, he died
okay.
several years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, to be like, oh, surprise, John had a partner that was originally part of the whole Jurassic Park plan, but they had differences and they broke up, and John went ahead with the park and this guy went off to do his own thing. And oh, by the way, the reason that their partnership broke up is because this guy got into not just dinosaur genetics but human genetics and has cloned his dead daughter, trying to pass her off as his granddaughter.
Which, really gets me, because it's like, if you're trying to make a franchise of films, like a series, and that's the hook, that's the big twist. At least that's what I could tell from what Rachel told me in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense to me, because, like, I guess the bigger twist to lead into the next movie is now we have dinosaurs on the main continent of the United States. Okay.
Yes.
But, like, now the girl is she's just the one who released them, but there's nothing more to tell about her.
With the exception of one certain doctor that I thought was most definitely going to be Dino Munchies.
Nope.
Escapes.
He's still alive.
He's got master-like tendencies.
25 years, and granted he's not been in all of them, but still 25 years and 5 movies later, Dr. Wu is still running around being the mad scientist that he is. If they just killed him in the first movie like he dies in the first book, we would not have this problem.
And then there's that...
We thought Nedry was bad enough.
Right? Yeah, it's amazing they didn't work together.
Yeah, I think the whole thing with the daughter, granddaughter...
Yeah.
We'll just call her granddaughter, just to, I guess, the child. The thing with her is, and this was their whole, I think, reason for bringing Jeff Goldblum back, because he only appears, he probably gets less than 10 minutes screen time in the entire movie. He appears at the very beginning and the very end, and it's all just him testifying to the government or whatever. And at the end, he talks about the fact that with this genetic manipulation, it's opened up Pandora's box to the point where it's not just bringing back extinct species. It potentially opens up people to do things like stop death.
Clone their
And we
pets.
saw how well that worked in Miracle Day.
Yeah.
I want to make an Indominus Corgi.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So, and because it's like because we're supposed to get a third movie. Jurassic World is supposed to be a trilogy, just like Jurassic Park was a
Jurassic World, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. So we've got these threads of Dr. Wu still has samples in his research, some of his research.
Right.
There are dinos that got bought
By the Russians, I heard.
by the Russians and some other not good people, because it's not like a good person's going to go to a black market dino auction. So
I mean, there probably are collectors there that aren't going to do much more than display them, right?
But these were for dinos for using as weapons in wars.
And that's where I mean, like, Dino Riders. You remember that cartoon?
Yeah.
It's like strap-on mechanisms and tank parts on dinosaurs.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you've got a handful of dinos in the hands of some not so nice people in other countries. So it's not just the United States. And then you've got a handful of dinos that are just running loose on the West Coast.
Yeah. And we're choosing to
Not go with Owen.
not go with Owen.
Yeah.
And life will find a way.
Exactly. But
Exactly,
it's like how is this all going to tie together in the next movie?
I mean, it could be like one of those like big epic world scale Roland Emmerich, like, you know, Armageddon, Independence Day movies where it is like a giant, you know, catastrophe across the entire world and people are trying to figure out how to, survive. Or it could be a miniature, small thing that happens at just a subdivision where it's like, oh my god, there's a dinosaur in the woods. The kids have told us there's a dinosaur in the woods, and then the parents are like, oh, ha 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 ha. They're just using their imaginations, and then, like, you know, somebody's dog disappears, and then it turns into like a horror film. You see what I mean? It could be huge scale or very small scale in the next movie.
Which we've kind of had both
Yeah.
already. I mean, we had a dino loose.
In
the second
two
movie.
with the swimming pool.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. It's just very.
Somebody,
it's
I was
weird.
listening to one of the reviews, said this movie was a lot darker. Like the tone of it was.
Oh yeah,
different.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When the island, when the volcano erupts and the island's getting destroyed, and the
Because see, all the
our
other
heroes get on the boat, but the back of the boat is still open,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like a brontosaurus or
Yes.
something on the
Yeah, it was
dock.
brontosaurus.
Yeah, on the dock, watching as this boat sails away with some of its friends on it, and it succumbs to the smoke inhalation. I wanted to cry. I
And then
felt so
it
bad.
goes up on its hind legs like it's the very first movie,
Yeah,
reaching up to get the leaf from the tall tree.
yeah. Yeah, even before that, when the volcano's first erupting, and you see that one bit in the trailers when the Claire and the one guy are in the gyroscope, the ball, and Owen comes hauling butt from the smoke, going run, and the dinos are running with him, and they go off the cliff, and some of the dinos go off the cliff, and most of those dinos can't swim.
No.
So, they fall into the water and they're drowning and they're just all running for their lives because they know that this is bad. And it's like, I felt bad for the dinosaurs.
Oh, I did too. I was tearing up. And
I was
Well,
like, you poor baby.
it has been like a theme throughout all the Jurassic Park movies about, like, oh, poor nature, like we abuse nature and like it's, it's a sad thing that's happened. And
Yeah. Well, like a species goes extinct or something. Yeah. Well, and there's this whole thing with Claire has become like this activist.
right.
And is trying to convince the government that they need to intervene to try to save the dinos because they know that the volcano is going to explode. But the government's not having it, and she's got people and they're like calling and trying to get like senators to back them and all that, and she gets on the phone with like this senator or something and appeals to her maternal nature, I guess, the senator, the mom, she's got kids, she's like, your children have grown up in a time where dinosaurs exist, and if we don't save them, they're not going to. And you're going to have to explain to your kids that these creatures that have been dead for millions of years but came back are now going to be dead again. And are probably never going to come back. It's like, how do you explain that to your children?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the dark tone for Jurassic Park is interesting, but you can only make people sad for CGI for so long.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's sad, but yes, they are CGI. But then the death of Hammond's ex-partner, too,
Lachlan,
that was very dark, too.
Yeah.
To be,
Like, it was a murder.
yeah, it was a murder.
Yeah.
He got smothered.
Right. There hasn't really been murders throughout the other movies. There's been, people
have gotten eaten.
have gotten, well, of
Yeah.
course there's
Or
that,
torn
but,
apart.
or like they get exposed to dinosaurs because someone else like exposed them to dangerous dinosaurs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like secondary murder.
Yeah.
Um,
In some cases, it's the dinos would be it would be considered justifiable.
yeah, I mean, if you
Dino
Yeah.
homicide.
if you analyze
Yeah.
the first
Homicide
movie,
by dino.
if you
Yeah.
analyze the
Death by
first
dino.
Jurassic Park, like John Hammond is actually the villain in the first Jurassic Park. If you're like a film critic or film student that had to study it,
Well, apparently in the first book he's worse.
oh, is he?
Yeah,
I
in the
read
book, like he's supposed to be like he doesn't even care when his grandkids go missing and
Right.
and stuff. All he cares about is
selling lunchboxes.
making the lawyers happy and his investors happy, so that the park continues. He's definitely a bit more sympathetic in the movie, where he does care about the well-being of his grandchildren. So,
Yeah.
and that's probably somewhat a testament to Richard Attenborough's performance too. Very
The
grandfatherly.
thing I will say though is I remember being in second grade and having the kids at recess talk about, oh, I heard they're gonna do a Jurassic Park movie where like they clone a T-Rex, because cloning was like the big new technology that made that whole science fiction possible. I heard they're gonna clone a Dilophosaurus, which is the spitter, the one that spits acid,
Yeah.
with a T-Rex. You have a T-Rex that can spit acid and blah blah blah, and then like you'd have the rumors that get spread where it has nothing to do with truth. It's just kids spooling rumors, and that was always the fun part of these movies before the internet. But like when they actually did a cloned, supercharged T-Rex with the Indominus Rex in Jurassic World, no matter how good the story was, I was still excited as a little kid inside. I was like, that's pretty cool. They finally have an abomination that they made. And then this one with the Indominus Raptor, is that what it was?
Yeah, the Indoraptor.
Yeah.
What was it like powers? If it was,
It was super smart, like smarter than Blue, and could follow commands, and had been trained to respond to certain sounds.
Laser.
Yeah,
sound and then laser sight.
Yeah, there was this gun with laser sight, and you would use the laser sight, point it towards the target, and then it emanated this sound, and the raptor had been taught to, when I hear that sound, look to where the laser's pointing, that's the target.
And attack.
Yeah, and then there's a button you'd push on the gun that would like emanate another sound to tell the raptor to go and attack. So, it is bigger than Blue.
right?
So,
It's like weaponized
Yeah.
velociraptor.
yeah, it was essentially weaponized, but it was a hybrid of a raptor like Blue and the Indominus Rex.
Right,
So,
yeah.
which the
So all the
Indominus
meanness
Rex,
of the Indominus Rex, and then your typical velociraptor.
yeah. But I mean, the Indominus Rex was already a hybrid, so you're taking a
Right.
hybrid and creating another hybrid.
Right. So did the Indominus Rex die on the island in the beginning?
No, the Indominus Rex died in the
In the first one?
first
Or
Jurassic World.
Jurassic World.
Yeah.
What's when they're like in the sphere thing and they're like in like Owens outside of the sphere in the trailer, this is what I saw, and like there's like it's like an Allosaurus or like another
Yeah.
biped. Is that what that is? It's not the Indominus Rex, it's just another one.
It was just, I think it was an Allosaurus that you were saying. I don't think the Indominus Rex bred and had another little one floating around, but...
The Tyrannosaur kills it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and the original Tyrannosaur from 25 years ago that still survived. Yeah.
That's what they're saying. That's what
Still
they were saying.
kicking.
Yeah.
That's funny. Gotta sell them lunch boxes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I heard they're inspiring now. This movie, or at least the series Jurassic World's inspiring a new overhaul for the ride at Universal Studios Florida. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
Yep. They're gonna... I don't know if they're gonna, like, completely retheme it, but they're definitely updating it so that it's more clean, I guess, like Jurassic World was. And blue is now... They had a raptor encounter before where they had a really, really good raptor animatronic that you could go up and, like, take your picture with and would respond and growl at people and scare the crap out of people. But now it's blue, specifically blue. Yeah, and they just had a big party. Actually, at both parks, both Hollywood and Florida, they had a big 25th anniversary celebration, because that was what Tony was working at, that I showed you the picture. We got a friend that he works for Universal out in California, and he worked the 25th anniversary party when they had it out there, and he was dressed as, what's his face?
Owen?
No. From Seinfeld.
Oh, Dennis Nedry?
Yeah, he was dressed as him, and Laura Dern was actually there and saw him, and she's like, "Oh my God, you look so good!" So. Oh,
I gotta see that. I don't remember that picture.
Yeah.
It would be so funny if they did like Disney style like meal meet and greets, like where you're sitting there eating your breakfast buffet, and then Blue comes in to come greet you, but like it's a Velociraptor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or have waffles shaped like a Velociraptor.
Yeah. Well, I mean the original ride, if you've ever wondered why the Jurassic Park ride is a river boat ride, it's because there was supposed to be a river raft scene in the first movie, and it got cut. But they decided that they wanted to use that anyway. So, because they actually started production on the ride before the first movie was actually done. And then opened in between the first movie and the second one. So, which I've been on both coasts. And it's a really good ride. You get very, very wet. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But it is a very fun ride. As long as you don't mind getting wet. So, and hopefully they don't change it too much with the updates, that the general skeleton of the ride sits there, stays the same, so you can still get soaking wet. Although last time we were there, we were soaking wet before we actually got on the ride because it was pouring rain.
Yep.
So we figured, what the heck, let's just ride Jurassic Park because we're wet anyway. What's more water could it do? Funnily enough, no, there weren't a lot of other people riding.
Nope.
It's like, what, you're already getting wet, you might as well ride.
I love the actual full-scale T-Rex animatronic they have at the end. I mean, it could be better, of course, because, like, you can tell, like, the legs are just hanging there, dangling, like, wet rags. But, like, man, you just need to see such a giant animatronic in general.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's so good. All the dinosaurs are really good. Because I think they used the same team, at least part of the same team that was part of the movie production, to work on the attraction. And Steven Spielberg worked alongside it too to make sure that it
he reused a lot of
matched
Jaws.
his vision.
He reused a lot of like storytelling, like he used in Jaws for Jurassic Park, and and that's carried through, I think, all the way through.
Yeah. So, what's funny is, well, not necessarily funny, but just the same era as he was making starting to make the Jurassic Park was the same era where he made Schindler's List. He's like,
I never thought of that.
Yeah, there was a YouTube video I watched, and he was talking about, because I think Schindler's List was before the first Jurassic Park, and he was like, I was coming off of Schindler's List, and it's like, I'm gonna make a Jurassic Park movie. It's a nice change of pace after Schindler's List. So, there's all sorts of really good videos on YouTube. I'll link to the ones I've watched in the show notes, but there's like the whole grand opening of the ride in California, which is just 90s entertainment at its best. It's just so cheesy and dated. And then there's several of the behind the scenes documentaries for several of the movies. And then there's a documentary about the, you can't see me, I'm doing air quotes, real Jurassic Park, which is all about the science behind Jurassic Park and how it could actually be real. But it was made in the 90s, so of course technology has changed significantly since then. But it's narrated by Jeff Goldbum. But it's talking about like genetic manipulation and cloning and that sort of thing. But of course, science has gone leaps and bounds since then.
Do you remember Dolly the sheep, the cloned sheep?
Uh-huh.
That was big during that time. I remember in third grade they showed Jurassic Park in class just because it had a theme that had to do with STEM, science. It's like, really? Okay, let's watch Jurassic Park.
Yeah. So it's I mean the franchise it's definitely unique. It definitely laid the groundwork for other things that we've had since then.
Well, since I haven't seen the movie, let me ask you this.
Yes.
The aesthetic of, like, the set pieces in Jurassic Park, to me, are, of course, you have I know there's a mansion in this one. I've seen it in the trailer. But,
yeah.
I mean, like, when you're on the island, it's like, the aesthetic typically is jungle, South American jungle, like, green, whatever, wild rainforest, plus, like, industrial, like, field technology, military style technology, like installed out in the field with the dinosaurs, maybe even jeeps and things that are all armored up, and different types of fancy weapons that are meant for subduing big animals, as well as like people dressed up in safari get-ups. And is that still preserved? Does this movie still kind of look like Jurassic Park?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Claire's actually wearing proper footwear this time.
Yes. No high heels.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Well, what's funny is the first time we see her, it's at her foundation, and she's gone to like get coffee, and she's coming back, and we see her in the elevator, but they shoot her from the feet first, and then go
just to make
camera
sure.
pan up, and she's wearing heels then.
Oh, she is.
Yes, but when they actually go to the island, she's in proper attire and proper footwear, and
it's funny
stays
that they felt like they had to show that.
Yeah, but they're like, or it's like, oh, Claire's back. Oh, look, she's wearing heels. Don't worry, she doesn't stay in them. So, but no, I mean the on the island, it's still exactly what you'd expect. They have to go to this building. They have to go back to the actual Jurassic World facility and they need to go to the specific building so that they can use Claire's handprint to access the GPS tracking system, because all of the dinos have been tagged. And they can track them, but since Claire's the only employee that's still left, she has to go because they need her handprint to access the tracking system, so that they can get the species of dinosaur.
That's why in the trailer she said it was all a lie. That's why she's even there in the first
Yeah,
place.
because she thinks it's purely a rescue mission.
I see.
Yep. And then, of course, we have your stereotypical hunter who's there to help wrangle said dinosaurs, but he's in it for his own personal gain.
The Buffalo Bill character they kept referring to in the
Red
Letter Media review.
The guy that's like
collects the dino's teeth.
Yeah, he's like, my fee is to collect the biggest predator on the earth.
Yeah. Which his death was pretty satisfying.
Yes.
That was definitely one of the more entertaining.
That's when the Indominus Rex fakes him out.
Yes. That just goes to show how smart the Indoraptor is when it fakes and pretends being tranquilized.
Yes. Because while Wild Bill is busy trying to ready instruments, the raptor's one eye kind of open. Oh, he's moving. Blows it.
Yep. As soon as he walked in that cage, I'm like, oh, you are dead. Bye.
You're toast. You're toast, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it.
Yeah. It's like, bye-bye. I don't want to see you anymore. So long.
Yep. Put on the red uniform.
Yeah,
You're
really.
beaming down.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, for the most part, all of the bad people get theirs in the end, except for Dr. Wu.
Yep.
Dr. Wu lives to see another day.
I heard that.
I hope he finally gets his. If we don't get anything else in the next movie, Dr. Wu finally needs to bite it, preferably at the jaws of a dino.
They must have character developed him into.
He needs to be dino kibble.
They must have made him evil in this movie because I don't have that opinion of him because I guess since I haven't seen the movie, they must have really developed his character into a really evil person.
I mean, he's
from watching the first one and then going and watching the two Jurassic Worlds, they have made him more evil. He seemed to be more nice and misunderstood in the very first Jurassic Park, but this one, he's just no.
Yeah. He's playing
turned Dr. Jekyll.
He's playing God, is what he's doing, and it needs to not be. He's gotten a God complex, and he needs to be taken about 27 pegs.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's not answering to anybody anymore. He had to answer to Hammond.
Yeah, in the first movie.
In the first movie, so he knew he had to be careful.
Yeah. But then, by the time Jurassic World comes around, it's not InGen anymore. It's whatever the company is.
Yeah, it's some corporation.
Yeah, and they've got more money, and he's willing to play God and help develop the Indominus Rex. So, and by this point, he's just a madman with a chemistry set who needs to go away.
Yeah, and a chemistry set that can create something with scales, sharp teeth, and claws.
Yep. Thankfully, that one's dead.
Yeah.
So, thanks to Blue.
Yes.
Even though she was grossly outsized,
yes,
she's still super smart. So, which is good. So,
yep.
I like
probably the only time I cheered for a Velociraptor.
Yeah, like that and the whatever that one was.
Oh yes,
that was helping them break
out. The bald
out of
head
it.
and the spikes.
Yes.
Going around like
running around.
The battering ram.
Yeah, the battering ram. It reminds me of the Juggernaut.
I need to remember the name of that, so that'll be my first fact check here.
There you go. Just look it up. There's several with bald heads, but it's not one that it's not one that's on all fours. It's one that runs on two legs.
It's a omnivore too. It's in the Lost
and
World.
The
Jurassic Park.
It's kind of short. It's shorter than Owen.
Yeah, it's hard to pronounce. It's Pachycephalosaurus. Man, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah.
I think they call it a Pachy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just have when they lay their head down, their neck and their spine line right up, and then it has this really good.
It's got this really smooth, helmet.
Yeah.
It almost looks like on its head.
It's like a battering ram.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. It acted like a battering ram, but just if you've seen Deadpool 2, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It reminds me so much of the Juggernaut.
So, literally during this podcast, one of my friends just sent me a video game that's on Steam called T-Rex Breakout, where they, in 3D, recreated the entire scene from Jurassic Park, where you can,
where you're trapped in the Jeep?
Yeah, you're trapped in the Jeep, you have to try to survive, and it's
oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm going to have to try this.
That's hilarious.
And, you get killed and restart over and over again until you figure out how to do it. Or there may not be a way, I'm not sure.
It's a Kobayashi Maru. There's no way to really get out.
Yep.
You're just screwed.
I guess you just don't move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because supposedly they can't see movement, which is incorrect.
Yes.
It's scientifically incorrect that actually the T-Rex was supposed to have really, really good eyesight.
I mean, it has a huge eyeball, I would imagine.
Yeah, it was supposed to have really, really good eyesight. So, I actually watched a YouTube video. It's like the 10 most scientific inaccuracies in Jurassic Park. But I liked one of the top comments in the comment section. It's like, yeah, I just kind of can hand wave it away because these aren't purebred dinos. They're dinosaurs mixed with frog DNA. And therefore, they don't necessarily fit the science that we understand for actual dinos, purebred dinos. So, like, I like that explanation. Actually, works for me. Because honestly, I think dinos would look really funny covered in feathers.
I don't know. I mean, if you give it to the right art direction team, it'd be kind of cool to see. I remember reading books in grade school where they had like pictures of hypothetical dinos covered in.
Some of them I could understand, but like I just a picture in my head like a T-Rex with feathers on it, and to me it just seems like it would be a giant chicken with really sharp teeth.
I guess, I mean, we probably have to look towards like actual birds that span different continents that are very similar. That, you know, some have feathers, some don't.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or like less feathers. Because like I'm sure it's like based on like the climate they live in.
Probably.
It's very interesting though. I started finding Facebook groups that have to do with like prehistoric giants, and like these people will create these like artistic renderings of what they think like a, you know, I don't know what that dinosaur is that's in the water in this movie and Jurassic World, but you know, stuff like that. And it's interesting because their scale on the image, if you see an art rendering of it, is just like it's not relevant until they put like a human next to it, so it gives you a context. But like I work in VR, and like that's one of the cool things about VR is you can see scale pretty well, and it'd be kind of cool to like just have a nice explorer of prehistoric creatures to like look at scale.
Yeah.
Just sort of look around at like a encyclopedia.
Yeah. Well, that particular dino is actually only supposed to be like 25 feet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And they just scale it up.
But then they ended up making it the size of like an aircraft carrier, just to make it scarier. So.
Yeah. Or maybe Dr. Wu was playing with his chemistry set and decided, we'll make him a little bit mean and longer.
Yeah. Whatever one it's not the megalodon, because it's something like the megalodon. I always think it's a megalodon, but it's not.
Right.
So, but it's something like that. I think it still starts with an M.
All right, I'm going to do my second fact check here.
There you go.
Man, I have no idea how to pronounce this. Let's see.
The problem with dinosaurs is so many of them have super long scientific names. It's like, can we just...
Shoot. Oh, there it is. Mesosaur?
Mesosaur? It's kind of like a megalodon.
Ginormous sea lizards, basically, is what mesosaur means.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So it's actually probably not that accurate what it is.
No. You just kind of have to hand wave a lot of Jurassic Park stuff, I think.
I mean, it's really just a spectacle for the movie, because like that was in the trailer for the first one, and then the second one, it's like going after the surfers.
Yeah.
It doesn't really play a role in the story, right? In the first one,
it does. It does.
Oh,
It's one of the first ones to get free. In
is?
Fallen Kingdom.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's these folks trying to retrieve a bone from the Domus Rex.
Oh, that's right.
So that they can
that's right.
so they can extract the DNA. And in the process of them sneaking onto the island, because the Indominus Rex, its bones are at the bottom of that thing's like habitat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gotcha.
That's right.
Because it ate in the first one.
Because it ate the Indominus Rex in the first one. So there's guys in like this little submarine thing going to retrieve the bone of the Indominus Rex.
Well, that's kind of cool.
And in the process, they get attacked
By the Mesosaur.
And then
during a storm, none the least.
Yeah, of course, because it's raining and storming as it does off the coast of Costa Rica.
Right.
It's always raining there, unless there's a volcano exploding. And in the people still up on land are waiting for these guys to come back. The guy running, because they had to open the underwater gate to let them in. And in the process of him waiting for the guys to say, okay, we're free, shut the door, which they don't hear from them because they've been eaten.
Sorry, it's Mosasaurus.
Mosasaurus, or whatever. Yeah. It's a giant whale with teeth.
Yeah, it's a mean whale.
It's a mean whale.
Danger whale.
Yes. That guy that's running the controls gets attacked by the T-Rex. So he ends up dying, and they accidentally leave the gates open so that thing can get free.
Gotcha.
So it ends up swimming away. So it's actually the first dinosaur to leave the island.
And the guy who was supposed to close the gate thought he was home free when he hopped up on the ladder. Well, yeah, T-Rex had other plans.
Yes.
He was hungry.
Yeah. Well, no, but it wasn't the T-Rex. It was the Mesosaur, I think, that ends up eating him, because we see that in the trailer too. Yeah. We see him jump out of the water and clamp on the rope ladder.
That's right.
Hanging off the helicopter, because they end up cutting him free. They're like, we got what we came for. Bye, buddy.
Well, so in the first movie, they had a bunch of marketing materials that had Isla Nublar mapped out like a theme park map, because the park is open, right? And the water pavilion is in the dead center of the island.
Yes, it got moved.
There's no like gate to open to let the Mesosaur.
Yeah, it got conveniently moved for story reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Unless there was a little bit of the, Hunger Games clock scenario going on that we didn't know about.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be a river connecting it, I suppose.
Yeah, but there's kind of like a river or something there running towards it, so we could...
I would have loved to watch that thing
that
flop down the rocks to try to get out.
Yeah.
Or maybe this was the Indominus Rex's work, and she made some escape plans to wander around an ape.
It's erosion.
Yeah.
Right.
All that land eroded in the last 6 months.
The volcano opened up away or something.
Yeah.
Hand waving.
There's a lot of hand waving with these movies. There's so much hand waving with these movies.
I mean, and also Isla Nublar has gone from very small to very big to very small to,
Yep.
It is an active volcano, so...
Right. Well, it's a real place in the real world.
It wasn't supposed to be an active volcano, but then it was an active volcano, so... Something?
Anyway.
Science?
We should go on vacation to Isla Nublar someday.
No. Definitely not.
I mean, with lots of mosquito spray, but...
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Definitely not.
She has spoken.
Definitely not, so... And like I was saying to you last night, supposedly, I think there's like a cut scene or something that explains what happened to Site B.
Right.
But I don't know what it is. I haven't seen it. I just heard rumblings.
So therefore it's not really canon, so Site B might still be out there too.
Well, no, they've explained away what happened to it. I just don't remember. I haven't looked for the explanation.
I remember as, I don't know, maybe an 11-year-old, I really wanted to see The Lost World Jurassic Park, or Jurassic Park Lost World, and like just couldn't figure out how to get to the theater. I don't know what happened, but and I guess I don't have that much say at that age or whatever, or I just forgot. And like the kids at school were talking about, oh, there's a Site B, there's another island that has dinosaurs on it, and that blew my mind.
Yeah.
I saved up my pennies and went out and bought the VHS tape to check it out. And by the way, my mom worked in. This is what qualifies me to be on the Fiveish Fangirls today. My mom, she used to be this really hardworking laser automation systems, like computer technician. Mm-hmm. Okay, so like they would cut all these pieces for RVs in the RV industry in Elkhart, Indiana. Mm-hmm. And my mom would just work late nights all the time trying to get these pieces out, and her company was growing pretty big. It was called like Moride International or something like that. Well, anyway, one of the jobs that came through at her work that she told me about, she was so proud, because at the time I was so into Jurassic Park, was that she helped make some of the parts for the RVs that are on Jurassic World that fall off the cliff. Not Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, The Lost World. When Ian Malcolm and his wife,
girlfriend,
they're hanging from that rope in that RV, like careens, or not careens, but skids off the cliff from the T-Rex couple that knocks it off the cliff. My mom said that, she goes, if you look close, you can see some of the parts on the bottom of the RV that we made in Elkhart, Indiana. So,
cool.
Yeah, that blew my mind as a kid. And then, of course, I had to ask her, did you make the Mercedes, like, camouflage cars, too? No, we didn't do that,
That would have been cool.
Did you make the tank Jeeps and all that? Oh, the Hummers that were in that movie weren't made by my mom, but they were made in Mishawaka, Indiana, which was right near where I went to school. So that was kind of cool. There's a lot of vehicle components and vehicles that were made right where I went to school when they were making that movie. So kind of weird, kind of cool. I don't know. The Lost World, I think, is a little underrated as an action thriller. It's not the greatest story in the world, but it's pretty cool. It goes from phase to phase to phase pretty quick, and you go from like the human part of it to the island part of it to the InGen conflict to like, oh, this terrible thing that's happening to the dinosaurs, to like the T-Rex phase of the movie, then the Velociraptor phase of the movie, and I don't know, it just to me felt like a good continuation of Jurassic Park for like fans of the dinosaurs. Maybe not like for everyone, but like it was entertaining. I liked watching it with Rachel here recently because she had never seen it.
I liked 2. That was, 3, we bring back Sam Neill's character. That one, I'm more partial to the one with Malcolm.
Yeah. Sam Neill is a really good character as Alan Grant, but I think Alan Grant needs some relief from, he's a really good pillar of being a naturalist and being a paleontologist, but like he needs like kind of weirdos nearby him that are like Ian Malcolm was a perfect opposing character to have.
You mean Jeff Goldblum?
Well, yeah, because you have like this rock star scientist with an actual conservative scientist, supposedly working together here, but they don't really want to be there. But then, like, I don't know, Jurassic Park 3, it just was not believable to me that Alan Grant would have not abandoned those people in the woods.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's so unreasonable what those people did to get him there. He was dead
telling you,
set.
greed and bad parenting. That's the thread that cuts through all these movies. Besides the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So. You want a flooring shop? Okay, bye bye.
Yeah.
It's like, forget you.
I'm sure there was a part of him that like he was excited to be back there to see the dinosaurs. Like he said, he almost forgot when he saw them. But like
Unlike Malcolm in the second movie, when they first come across the dinos and everyone else is like, and Malcolm's like, ooh, that's the way it starts, and then it's running and screaming and dying.
Yep.
I wonder if that was improv. That's pretty good.
It might have.
Yeah, it's like, been there, done that.
Ooh, yeah, that's the way it starts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, my friends here in Indy, we quote Jurassic Park like nonstop, the original.
Hold on to your butts.
Yeah, all of it, everything. And if we could pull deep cuts from that, it just gets funnier.
Yeah. You didn't say the magic word.
Yeah.
Dodson, we got Dodson here. See, nobody cares.
Yep.
Yeah,
Or
popcorn.
if I see a slice of pie sitting with whipped cream, I always look at it sideways. I'm like, is that whipped cream or is that shaving cream?
That's another throwback to where I grew up. Barbasol shaving cream is made in Elkhart, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means, but that's interesting. But yeah, at PopCon they had a reproduction JP1 Jeep set up.
Oh, cool.
And they had a Barbasol can in the front window, and you could take pictures of it.
And usually you can find the least at PopCon the last couple of years. There's been at least one cosplayer dressed as Claire from the first Jurassic World. Mm-hmm. So she's got the high heels on and the skirt and the shirt tied around her waist, and she's holding a flare. Not really a flare, because you can't actually carry those around at PopCon, but she's usually being chased by someone in one of those inflatable T-Rex costumes. She'll be running around the convention hall going, "Run!" Which is quite funny.
That's like my one and only cosplay. Rachel cosplays a lot, but my one and only is I have a shirt that I had patches, sewn on the sides that say Jurassic Park Park Ranger, and it looks like a Park Ranger shirt. And then I wear a little pin that says somebody's got to be food. Yeah. That's one thing I get excited about for augmented reality technology is like if you could build like a tour through the woods where you could wear computer glasses, and then you could have like an actual Jurassic Park, but all the dinosaurs would be computer graphics.
So you can't die.
Right, so they don't
actually
break out and eat you.
Mm-hmm.
Which is my favorite kind of dinosaur, one that can't eat me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember like the Dinosaurs Alive thing in the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
That's still a thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
They had like big animatronics.
They go on like tour.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a circus, but with people dressed as dinos.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And then you've got, dinosaurs are they're always going to be a thing that excites people.
Yeah.
Disney's got the dinosaur ride at Animal Kingdom, which we quote all the time, too.
Yeah. That's a really good ride.
Yes. Yes, it is. So.
Holly, have you ever been to Walt Disney World to try to ride dinosaur?
No, I haven't, but I want to.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if they were copying Jurassic Park or what, but like they just came up with their own concept, which it involves time travel, but like, it's kind of neat that you go through a large, like building that they make it look like you went back in time and during the evening, and you're just stumbling upon these dinosaurs, and they've got like theater lighting and stuff to make it look like it's like nighttime and like you're near the asteroid impact, and it's pretty exciting. It's a pretty cool ride.
It is. Yeah. It's really good.
Have you ever been to Disneyland?
Okay, Disneyland. Refresh my memory. Is that California or Florida?
That's
Florida?
California.
Yeah, I've been to the Florida.
Oh, you've been to Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one came out in like the late 90s. Dinosaur.
Okay.
Well, it used to be Countdown to Extinction.
Okay.
And I think it had a slightly different plot line.
Okay.
And then they rethemed it to Dinosaur.
Not sure, because I went down to Florida when I was in 4th parade, and I can't remember if we hit that area at the theme park, because I know Universal Studios had just opened when I was down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we had a limited amount of time at Disney, and then we did Daytona, and then went back up to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Did you see a race at Daytona?
No, there were no races scheduled that day
Okay.
when we were down there.
Just
Otherwise,
checking it out.
we would have gone.
Yeah.
If you need dinos, there's definitely no shortage of being able to get your fix at various locations. Even here in Indianapolis at the Children's Museum, they've got an entire wing dedicated to dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
So, with skeletons and then some with skin, and they've got one that's poking its head out of the side of the building. They'll put a Santa hat on it at Christmas time. There's another one peeking through the glass at the front of the museum, but it's all dinosaurs, and they got a little pit where kids can go and pretend they're paleontologists, and you can watch some folks who actually work in the museum on actual like paleontology work. So
Nice.
I remember
cool.
like in the early 2000s while I was in FFA, because FFA was like, we had parts of that curriculum at where I was going to school that were like about, preparing you to go to college to study genetics and things. And they had an option for us to buy woolly mammoth hair. Like I think it was Siberia, they had uncovered a fully frozen mastodon, and they were selling, 1 or 2 hairs at a time. And our professor was like, it's like $400 if you want to raise some money, we could get a mammoth hair. And we were joking around like, what would we do with it, and then the discussion, we never bought one, but the discussion was, could someone clone and like raise a woolly mammoth?
that's the one that whenever they talk about trying to bring back a dinosaur, that's the one that is almost always brought up. Probably because it's the closest to the elephant.
Right,
and they
because
figure
you can have a surrogate like African elephant as the mother, and it wouldn't even know the difference as far as I've heard. But I mean, no one's ever done this, so I can't just say that for sure. But the point is, I mean, if cloning technology is possible to do that, the question is, should we do it? And
Right.
yeah, it's very interesting. I can't imagine going to the zoo and if they had a woolly mammoth there. That would blow my mind.
Yeah, I don't even like some of the ones in the museums.
What do you mean?
So, because they scare me.
Like the tusks are so big and curvy and.
No, not that necessarily. That one at the State Museum. Because the State Museum, you actually start and you go, as each floor you go up, and it gets to closer and closer to modern day. So the ground floor starts with like the beginning of the universe and the dinosaurs and all the fun stuff. And it's a woolly mammoth being attacked by saber-toothed tigers, I think, but it's fallen into some cracked ice, so it's like drowning. It's like I usually take a different route so I don't walk by it because it makes me sad. So I don't like when animals die, even if they don't exist anymore.
Right. Well, yeah, of course. So, like, do you remember the Scholastic book club that would like come to schools?
Oh yes, everybody loved the Scholastic Book Fair.
The book fair, right? So I remember getting a hold of some prehistoric picture books from the Scholastic Book Fair, and like they would describe through just big picture, like coffee table size books, like what prehistoric animal life looked like as far as we could tell from the fossil record, and then they do artistic renderings of like these massive trilobites and big, huge like alligators and sharks and relatable animals to like what we see now, but like back then. And there's a professor at Indiana University that I'll give a shout out to, Matthew Powers, who teaches a creatures class, which is actually more artistically geared towards designing fictional creatures, like mythical creatures. But you also study realistic creatures, or real creatures from the fossil record in that class. And one of the things I told him and he laughed about was, because he was showing me these books of like these just massive trilobites that are like the size of like, I don't know, like a Volkswagen and stuff. And I'm like looking at some of these different types of shrimp, and they're just really creepy looking. And I'm like, if I teleported back in time, I would just punch that thing. And he just started busting out laughing.
They have some of those like models of those on display at the State Museum. They're like suspended from the ceiling, but they're like these like shrimp and like squid looking things that are supposedly millions and millions of years old, that are like the size of like a poodle, like, you know.
I appreciate it and it's interesting, but like if I saw that right in front of me and it was coming at me, I would punch it.
Well, you know, that's what you're supposed to do with a shark, so stands to reason that it could take a similar tactic.
Yeah.
Maybe. So. Dinosaurs are fun.
Well, yeah, people always bash Jurassic Park because most of the dinosaurs from it are not from the Jurassic period, of prehistoric fossil records. So,
yes, but Mesozoic Park or Cretaceous Park doesn't have quite the same ring to it.
Yeah.
It's all about marketing.
Yeah.
That's one thing I really liked about the not Dr. Grant, but the woman, was it Ellie?
Sadler, yep.
Sadler, Dr. Sadler. She, before she sees the, I guess it's a brontosaurus, or whatever that big meat or plant eater dinosaur was, and they were in the Jeep, she's looking at the leaf, and she's like, I don't understand, this species hasn't existed for, millions of years, and she's having this reaction, like, what in the world am I looking at here? This is bizarre. And then they see the dinosaur. It's just a perfect part of the movie.
And then the music swells.
Yeah, it's so good.
That John Williams score, it's like, ah! Like, thank you, John Williams, for once again knocking it out of the park. Pun intended. Anything else?
That I can think of.
Well, here's a game for you. When you're with friends and you're talking about Jurassic Park, start the Jurassic Park theme song. Just da-na-na-na-na, and see what happens. And this is what naturally happens with my friends, is we start singing it together. And then when we repeat it, the next time, da-na-na, we start singing it louder. And then the next time it's louder. And it gets to the point where we're screaming the song. It's so fun. Just see if that happens for you too. That's
cool.
my last bit.
To remember that when we go camping.
It's quite fun, yeah. Especially while camping.
Oh my. We're sitting out the campfire and they're having a couple of beverages and someone's just like, da-da. The neighbors are going to be like, what are they doing?
Yep.
It's like, sorry, we're a bunch of 90s kids. Like, it's John Williams. Do you expect us to do anything less?
I'm sorry, I cannot believe that is 1993.
25 years.
Man, time just flies.
It sure does. We'll see what happens as we barrel towards the next one. So, because it's only been what, about 2 years since the last one came out.
2015, yeah.
3 years? Okay, so 3 years. So, Chris Pratt's having a good year.
Yep.
It's a good time to be Chris Pratt.
Yeah, this is the golden age of Chris Pratt. So, Holly, what's your favorite Jurassic movie?
Oh, man. I have to go with the original.
Yeah. It's number 2 for... the original, I guess, is kind of a given for everybody.
Yeah. And then it would be 2.
Oh, you like the second one. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, I think Jurassic World is my second. Like, I really like 2, but the fact that I got to see the park open was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then with the very first of the Jurassic World, cameo by Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah. Complete with a margarita in each hand.
Exactly. Can't go wrong with that either.
Nope. Not at all.
What about you? What's your favorite Jurassic?
I don't know. Probably Jurassic World.
Yeah.
I really like Chris Pratt, so.
Yeah.
But, the first one is also, at the very least, because, it's our first introduction to that John Williams score.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is so iconic. All right. Well, if any of our listeners want to chime in, talk about their favorite dinosaur or favorite dinosaur movie or dinosaur attraction or dinosaur whatever, you can send us feedback. Easiest way to do that is go to our website, which is the5ishfangirls.com, and from there you can email us or fill out the feedback form or use one of the many links to our many social medias: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I think I tried to combine Facebook and Instagram, and that did not work. And you can always leave us a comment there or via YouTube. You can do it that way as well. Also on our website, you can find links to the Goodreads Book Club. So come join our monthly discussions talking about a Doctor Who related book. There's also our Amazon affiliate link. So if you are someone that uses Amazon to make purchases of any kind, it doesn't even have to be something geeky related, anything from DVDs to socks, it all works. You just use access Amazon through our link first, and we will get a small kickback from whatever you purchase. You can even use Amazon Prime if you're a Prime member. There's also the link to our Patreons. We are very appreciative of all of our Patreon supporters, including this guy here.
That's me.
Yep.
Among others who help financially support the show and keep us going. And then the link to our merch, where you can buy shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, and stickers with our logo on them. So, all right, and we will be back next week. So, a fair warning: next week's show will likely be delayed between other commitments and recovering from In Conjunction. I may need a little bit of time to recuperate, but we will be back next week with my recap of In Conjunction. So with that, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
You want to say goodbye?
This is Chauncey from Indianapolis saying, just don't ever tell a dinosaur to fetch a stick and call it stupid. It's not a good idea.
It's not going to end well.
And this is Rachel, also in Indianapolis, Indiana. I already used all my best lines. I got nothing. We still got Dotson. See? Dotson. See? Nobody cares. listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at thefiveshfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you'd like to support the show, the best and easiest way is to leave us a rating and review on iTunes. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at Patreon at patreon.com/FiveshFangirlsPodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to help keep the show going. For official Fiveish Fangirls merchandise, visit mymerch.us. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at fiveshfangirls@gmail.com. You can also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/FiveshFangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you all on the next episode.